So honestly, like, I'm just saying this and I know I'm starting to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but they're training you to dance like a monkey in a circus, and they're like, you know, we're gonna mess with your brain until you're addicted to social media, and then we can sell you things. It's not cool. So in my life, social media, I have been prey to this. I've experienced all sorts of negative effects, and so I took a long break from social media. And you know what happened? I realized that I had withdrawals to social media. So you know it's addictive because you have withdrawals to it. But as I got used to not being on social media, more and more I realized I started to enjoy my day-to-day life more often, you know? Put the computer away, put the phone away, and just enjoy things for you. Hello to all my beautiful allies. Welcome to Thank You Universe. Thank you for tuning in. Today we have an interesting topic, maybe a little controversial. It's one that affects most people today in the Western world, especially if you're watching this video because you clearly have access to the internet. We're going to talk about social media. And I want to talk to you all about my experiences with social media and some advice that I'd like to give based on that. So, social media is something that is very new to society and very new to the world, and it's changing the way that the world is. It is changing the way people interact. It's changing the way people see themselves and see others. So I remember when MySpace came out, I was in high school, and me and my friend, for the longest time, everyone was getting on MySpace, and I'm just like trying to be this cool counterculture rebel and be like, nah, I'm not gonna be on MySpace. MySpace is not cool. So I resisted, but you know what happens when you resist things? You give it more energy, and wouldn't you know it, I made a MySpace. And then me and my same friend, they were like, we're not gonna be on MySpace. We're just like, MySpace! Woo! MySpace all the time. I mean, you know, some parts of it are fun, but really, it's not bad. So then MySpace, you know, we all know what happened. RIP. Everyone moved over to Facebook. Facebook is the thing now. But, you know, maybe there will be some other social media platform that takes over. So everyone's on Facebook now, and let's talk about it. So, on social media, you have your friends, you have people that you meet on the internet, you have amazing, hilarious memes that you share. So there are some good things, like I've met people from many parts of the world who have similar interests and ideas as myself, and that's really neat, like the way that it can connect people globally like that. But at the same time, it's really not good for you. Social media is bad, okay? So there's been numerous psychological studies on the effects of social media, and it turns out, you know, it's pretty much by and large really bad for you. The more you are on social media, the more you're on things like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all them. I don't think they can sue me for saying it's bad for you, right? Probably not. We'll be fine. It's bad for you. The more you're on them, the more depressed you are. So, why might this happen? When you're on social media, everyone is cultivating their highlight reel, their snapshots, the way that they want to be perceived in the best light. So, when you go on social media, you see people as they have crafted, carefully thought out, and taken a million different pictures and a million different selfies to get that perfect one. So you think, oh, look at her, she's so much more beautiful than me, like, I'm ugly now. So you think you're ugly because you're comparing yourself to someone's best of the best picture. Or you see someone's amazing life, they're going out to an event, or they're partying, or they have so many friends, and you're like, wow, that person's so cool. I wish I were that cool. Clearly I'm not that cool because I didn't do this thing that this other person is doing. But maybe that other person has a pretty, like, you know, sedentary lifestyle and they're at home most of the time, but then when they do that one exciting thing, they're like, bam, everyone, this is what my life is like. I just go to crazy parties or concerts all the time. And then you're like, you get a misrepresentation of people, because people don't record themselves on videos and post them to social media when they're like sitting at home covered in their blanket with like chips on their chest and lap, or they're like sniveling and crying because they're sad. Like, people in general don't post that stuff because it is not a socially sanctioned thing to do. People don't give you likes when you're talking about sad stuff. I know, because I've seen people posted like that, and no lie, in the MySpace era when I was a depressed teen, before depression memes became popular, you know, I would say like some depressing things, and people in general don't seem to want to like that sort of thing. Sorry, there's flies in my face. There's literally, I don't know if you could see it, if the camera's that good. Okay, so people don't respond to negativity on social media, so it gets posted less. You can view it as kind of like an evolutionary adaptive thing. Like, let's say that social media posts are trying to survive and evolve into better things. So what gets more likes is what gets reproduced, because people get the dopamine spikes when people like their posts, and so they learn and are conditioned to post good, awesome, happy things that everyone will like. And so that's what people are more likely to post, because we get conditioned that way. So speaking of conditioning, let's talk about it. Conditioning. Social media is conditioning your brain. It is changing the wiring of your brain. It is making you respond to certain things in a certain way, to the point that you are not doing the things that you normally would do. So let's talk about the Skinner box. It's this classic experiment in psychology where they put an animal in a box of some kind. There's usually a lever or multiple levers, and they test an animal's response to certain things. So there's different trials of that. So let's say that there is a bird in a cage, and every time it presses a button, it gets a pellet. So the bird learns, okay, whenever I'm hungry, I'll press a button, I'll get a pellet. Maybe every 3 times there's a stagnated response. So every 3 times they press it, they get the pellet. What researchers found out is that when there is a random response, so the bird presses, it doesn't matter how many times the bird presses the button, the pellet will come on a random press. It's completely randomized. So they don't know when they're gonna get that rush, that dopamine, that, oh, I got the food now, awesome. So when it's randomized, they found that that is when the birds start pressing like crazy, non-stop. Which is kind of counterintuitive, but that's kind of how animal brains learn, and humans are no exception to that. So, you don't know when you're gonna get those little red notifications. By the way, a lot of times the notifications are a bright color, so it excites you and it gets in your brain. We know the effects of red are very prominent, they draw our attention. And so, the brain's like, oh, somebody liked the thing I did, awesome, dopamine. It happens on a randomized basis because you don't know when someone's going to like your thing or why. You just know that you keep on trying, so you go more and more and you get addicted to social media, to the point where you might spend all day on social media just trying to get those likes and notifications, because you've been on social media all day, so you're not doing the things that you said you would be doing, not achieving your goals in life and living it as you normally would, because you're chasing that dopamine rush on the super addictive social media. And, you know, I will always talk about this one. The people who made social media, like, they will not allow their own children to use social media. What do you think that says? Whenever you have a vice and you think about having kids and you're like, oh, you know, this vice in my life has been pretty messed up, like, I'm gonna educate my kids about that so that they know not to do it because it's bad for them. So the social media creators have done the same thing. They're like, hey, I know how addictive this stuff is. It's made me lots of money, so my own kids, nope, you're not allowed because it's bad for you, okay? And a lot of them, like, I've watched some interviews with these people on the internet and they're like, we didn't know how addictive it would be. How could we know that social media would take over human brains and do this social engineering thing? They knew. They have freaking psychologists and scientists trying to make social media as an addictive experience as possible because that's how they make more money and keep you on social media and have more influence over your life. And then they can advertise and sell your data to people. So in a way, you are the product of social media. Social media is making you into the product, which is someone who can be advertised to, someone who the algorithms can work on so that they can learn specifically how to get in your particular brain pathways of what makes you like things and what makes you want to buy things and what makes you consume things. So honestly, like, I'm just saying this and I know I'm starting to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but they're training you to dance like a monkey in a circus, and they're like, you know, we're gonna mess with your brain until you're addicted to social media and then we can sell you things. It's not cool. So in my life, social media, I have been prey to this. I've experienced all sorts of negative effects, and so I took a long break from social media. And you know what happened? I realized that I realized that I had withdrawals to social media, so you know it's addictive because you have withdrawals to it. But as I got used to not being on social media, more and more I realized I started to enjoy my day-to-day life more often, you know? Put the computer away, put the phone away, and just enjoy things for you, you know? If it didn't get posted on social media, did it really happen? Yes, it did actually. So social media in a way kind of makes you stop doing things for you. You kind of start doing things to be seen and doing things so that other people will like seeing you do certain things. It's kind of like, you know, you're not experiencing life just for the experience anymore. You're experiencing it thinking in the future of when people will like it. So you actually enjoy looking at your pictures more than you enjoy the actual thing you were doing when you took the pictures. You enjoy looking at the video of your vacation and showing it to people more than you actually enjoy the vacation. And so social media really takes you out of the moment. So what is a good countermeasure to this? Because we know that being in the moment is how you be happy, because if you're in the future you get a lot of anxiety, if you're in the past you get a lot of depression. You want to be in the moment. Mindfulness meditation. This idea of just breathing and focusing on your breath and experiencing everything around you. Feeling the water droplets from the tree. Feeling the air brushing the hairs in your skin. Feeling your feet planted on the earth. Just being in the moment, it's like, whoa, even just now doing that, I'm just like, whoo, got a little high there. Meditation gets you high. So do meditation, kids. And so social media really takes you out of the moment, so you really need to take active, intentional measures to start weaning yourself off of social media. That might be better for your mental health, honestly, because we know it makes you more depressed the more you're on social media. And because it's so addictive, that it's something you actually have to choose to get over, and you can think of it like an addiction. And I'm not saying you have to give it up completely cold turkey, but that was what worked for me because I was addicted to social media, and that's how I got off of social media. So cold turkey works well for some people, or maybe just limiting it. So in the morning you're just like, well, hopefully don't go on social media in the morning, but that is something that a lot of us do, most of us do. We wake up and we're like, don't want to think about all the chores and tasks and boring things I want to do. Let's see if anyone liked my stuff. Boop-a-doop-boop. Endorphins, dopamine. and then you end up wasting your whole day on social media. So I know I keep harping on this. Basically, I'm just trying to say it's super addictive and it keeps you from achieving your goals. So maybe just choose a certain window within a day. Like you give yourself an hour in the afternoon where you're allowed to be on social media. Or maybe you use it as a reward if that's what you want to do to wean yourself off of it. Like after I finish my homework, after I exercise, after I complete that project I was working on, then I'll let myself go on social media for like 20 minutes. But you'll find as you learn to be living in the moment and experiencing life for itself and not so you can get likes on social media, that you start to enjoy life again. And it's like you're a kid again. Except kids these days are growing up with social media, so we're gonna see the effects of that. I would not guess that they're going to be good. I don't want to be doom and gloom, but on the other side, there are these growing movements of like counterculture kids, kind of like how I was that I was talking about. I didn't want to be on it, and they're like, no, I'm not doing social media because that's punk. What's up? So it's really cool actually. I was reading an article about this before I went on my social media cold turkey hiatus actually. These kids that just decide to go against social media and not be on it and just live their lives to live their lives. And honestly, if you do this, you'll realize like what an outsider it kind of makes you. Like when people hear that I'm not on social media and that I'm not on Twitter and Instagram and all that, they're just like, oh, and they kind of look at you funny like you're weird or there's something wrong with you. And you know, maybe that's something that you'll have to face, but you'll realize you're part of this hippie tribe, part of Thank You Universe, and you're not about that social media addiction. You're about living life authentically and living it for itself. And you don't want to contrive a social image and be inauthentic and try and look a certain way for other people to judge you and get likes. You're living your life for you. That's another big thing, is that living on social media makes you inauthentic. It makes you not able to be yourself as you might normally be yourself because you want to get those likes and that social approval. It's like, if anyone watches Black Mirror, one of my favorite episodes is called Nosedive, and it's the one where the woman is trying to get like a higher ranking in their social media dystopian society so she can get in like the highly rated people apartments. It's on a scale of 1 to 5. Basically, everyone rates you. Like, they rate you as a person on 1 to 5. It's a really interesting concept, but it totally reflects our society. And so, people aren't mean to each other. They aren't rude because they don't want to be ranked poorly. They post their food. They're constantly trying to get the social validation and not even, like, talking to each other in real life because they're trying to increase their rank on the social media society that they live in. And I love that episode, but it just shows that it makes people inauthentic. And we want to live authentic lives, right? Because that is the key to actualizing and becoming the best version, your authentic, beautiful self. And you don't need the validation of social media likes. You don't need any of that. Just live life for you. Remember, mindfulness meditation. Take a breath. Live your life. It's fucking beautiful. Man, I'm trying to say curse words less because, fuck it. So, thank you all for tuning in to Thank You Universe. I just want to share my thoughts and experiences with social media. And much love to all my allies. Thank you for tuning in. Go ahead and like and subscribe because I need your likes for validation so I can feel good. Just kidding. But, you know, I do want my YouTube channel to grow and have more success. And if you liked it, go ahead and give us a like. If you want to subscribe to Thank You Universe, you're more than welcome to become a part of the family. And I hope you have a wonderful day today. I'll see you all on the next video. Bye.